I was born in the year 1924 and I'm 93 years old. I was born in Brownsville, 169 Powell Street, Brooklyn. My mother was born in a small town called Mizrich, outside of Warsaw. My father was born in the West Ukraine. He moved to Warsaw, he met my mother, and they were married in Warsaw. They left Warsaw because of economic conditions were bad in Warsaw. And in 1910, they came to the United States. They moved to Brooklyn and they opened the first vegetarian restaurant in New York in 1912. Now, after they opened the restaurant in 1912, and they had the restaurant for 12 years, my mother said, no more restaurant, because I was born. When I was 9 years old, my father had a nervous breakdown, and we were at the same time evicted from the apartment. They put us out in the street. They put me back in, and then they put us out again. And then we stayed with different families until my aunt Anna and my Aunt Dora and my Uncle George, they decided that they're going to get an apartment and they're going to put my grandmother in there. They're going to pay for the apartment. I went to PS 89. They opened a new elementary school, PS 76, and the principal marched all of us who were going to 89 to 76, which was right 2 blocks from my house where I was living in, for bond houses, 29 and 22 Barnes Avenue. And there was a junior high school called Herman Ritter. I went to that school for 1 month and I didn't like it, so I went back to my old school, and high school was Evander Childs High School after the 8th grade. But before that, my parents moved to the West Bronx from the East Bronx. And we were living in 1480 Grand Concourse, and I was going to DeWitt Clinton High School. I got 100 in the Regents, which was unheard of to get 100 in Social Studies Regents. James Baldwin was in my English class at DeWitt Clinton, English 7 and English 8. He sat next to me. Well, every day, if you got out at 3 o'clock, you would have a game going called touch football, punch ball. Oh, there are a few games that you could play in the street. And these friends, 3 of them I knew from the 1st and 2nd grade on. Some I knew when we were 4.5 years old in kindergarten, some in 5th grade, some from the building I lived in. We used to meet every week. We would meet when we were studying Yiddish class, but after I was 10 years old, we formed an organization called Habonim. It was a young Zionist organization, and we used to meet the friends every week, every Friday. And all my friends were getting out of the Army because they had a year of engineering, and I didn't have a year of engineering. So I thought this was a good course, a year of pre-meteorology. I was stationed at the University of Iowa. After I was doing that for 1 term, I met Zahava, I met Goldie, and she had an offer of 7 different institutions would give her a master's degree if she would go and get assistantships. So I said, let's go to North Carolina. It was already McCarthy era. In New York City, you had a McCarthy Oath, and in Hollywood, they fired everybody. They had the Hollywood 10. Anyway, so we went to North Carolina, and the next day, before classes would start, there was a questionnaire that went out and they wanted to know your father's name and your father's this and that. So we decided then and there, that day, that we're going to go to Israel. 1951. Then when we got off the boat in Haifa, we went to Sasa, Kibbutz Sasa. And this was a mistake of the movement. Usually they got two countries together. But in Sasa, it was all Americans. One Canadian, one Mexican fellow. It was right near a town called Tzfat. It bordered the Lebanese border. We left Sasa and went to a kibbutz in Marborot, and I had a daughter, Shelley. She's still in the same kibbutz. She never left. So after 3 years being in Israel, I took some salary and I got a ticket from Haifa to Marseille and a train to Paris, and then I started hitchhiking all along the whole northern coast of Europe, down the southern coast to Finland, into the Soviet Union. I go to Finland, and I meet a guy sleeping next to me in a student hostel. And he has just brought a brand new car. So we go up to the Finnish border, to the Soviet Union, and they say there's a tour of 10-day tour you can go on. So let's go find out. So we come up there, and the guy who's filling out the tour says, "Do any of you guys got a car? Well, you don't want to go on this tour. Go on your own, and I'll make it out for 10 days for you. A camping tour for yourself." We say, wow. So we have nothing to do with the tour, just the two of us. We come to the campsite. It costs $1 a day. It's a brand new bed and everything. I got to the Arctic Circle and the sun was 24 hours. I said, you never know when you go to sleep. So my mother wrote me back that you go to sleep when you're tired. But before we going into the Soviet Union, I went to see a monument in Finland on the Russian border. Anyway, I'm looking at the monument, and the time for evacuation of foreigners passed. I should have left. And the guy comes over to me and said, "There's a man over there, and he said he'll take you to his home." Anyway, we're sitting around and they say, let's go to the sauna, and we go in, and you go into the building and there's levels, 1, 2, 3, and you go up a level, and then they say, okay, take a dive, and you dive into the cold water after you've been in the sauna. I don't know, this is a real experience. And then my friend got sick. He had to go to the hospital, and I'm alone. So I'm exchanging money illegally, but I'm just making a lot of money with everybody who comes into the campsite. So I have a stack of money. My brother-in-law, when he heard this story, he said, "You're crazy. You could have gone to jail forever." I knew Anne in Jerusalem. She used to hang out with these Americans, and we're living in Rome a year, and all of a sudden there's a newspaper called the Daily American, English paper in Rome, and I see an ad that they need 2 English teachers. Antioch in English, Antakya, an ancient Antioch. I called her on the telephone. I talked to her and I said, we have a job and you have to leave Rome and come to Turkey, to Antioch. And I drive to Istanbul to pick her up, and we start teaching in the school. He started to pay off in Turkish money, and I said, it's worthless. You got to pay us in American money, which he agreed to, but after 6 months I said, no more American money, so we decided to leave. I remember we pack up everything, we go to Damascus, I think it was, yeah, and I wanted to go to the movies. So I have everything piled up on top of the Volkswagen, and I had to pay somebody to watch it while we go to the movie. The movie ends, the lights come on, no women, all men. Anne Hepner is the only woman in the whole place. I say, oh my God. And then when I came back to the United States, I called her mother. I had her telephone number. So I called her mother, and I found out that she was still in the same place in New York. So we started to go out together. We got married, and we were lucky to find this apartment on 74 West 38th Street. She was a proofreader, and I was a substitute teacher. And I did that for years. And my son got into Hunter College, all kind of, first, when he was 3, he got into a program, and then he got into a kindergarten, then he got into, they changed their program. Hunter was in a girls' school, they became co-ed high school. There was an old friend of mine from Israel who was having a party, and there were a lot of people there. And then, at this party, her friend said to me that she's a woman available. she's not married. So I went home and thought about it, and I called her, and she was busy. She was going somewhere, and then she called me back, and I was doing something. So I was busy. And then the 3rd time we got together. It was a very romantic time.
Sein mein Gott ist gar nicht da und Liebe soll sein Kolm roh a Puste treuen zerbrochen und mechule sind nicht kein Gewein in Mitternacht nicht kein bald Schuwe aufgewacht nur an Elente kol koire Halleluja Apikoires rufst du mich mit Shem Hawaii lästerich, nur Meile, ich der Wart nicht kein Gehule. Nur es brennt sich heiß in jeden Oss, von Aleph Beis, gar bis in Sof, die Heilige und Kalle, Halleluja. 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 Hallelujah, hallelujah. Und das ist alles, es ist nicht kein Sach. Ich mach derweile, was ich mach. Ich komm da wie ein Mensch, nicht kein Scheluja. Chutsch als verloren. Sei wie sei, will ich verleuden Adonai und schreien will ich heim. Halleluja, 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 Halleluja.
Every evening at 6. Jede Nacht noch 6 Säger kommt Hil Rogoff mit der letzten Neues, the latest news. Aber jeder wir gehen zu der letzten Neues ist ein Wort von unserem Sponsor Alka-Seltzer. Nimmt daraus ein kleines Tablett und legt es da rein in ein Gläser Wasser und hört, wie sie sucht. Alka-Seltzer, 10 Cent.